Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
Hello learners, I am Dr. Rekha Sharma, Professor UGC Human Resource Development Center, Rashtrasanta Tukolji Maharaj Nagpur University Nagpur. In this video, we shall study vitamins. Now the learning objectives. After studying this module, the students shall be able to classify vitamins, describe the functions of vitamins, identify food sources, discuss effects of deficiency or excess, and state the recommended dietary allowances. Now, the term vitamin was coined from the words vital, amine, as early scientists felt that these chemicals which are vital for life were amines. Vitamins are discovered one at a time from 1900 to 1950, some as a cure for classic diseases such as beriberi, pellagra and scurvy, while others were discovered after research on various body functions. Now, what are these vitamins? Vitamins like carbohydrates, proteins and fats are organic compounds. Unlike these nutrients, vitamins are required in minute quantities and are also called micronutrients. They do not provide energy and are present in very small quantities in food, but nonetheless are vital for life processes. All vitamins can be synthesized on a commercial scale, though fresh foods are always preferred. Vitamins are essential for some specific body functions such as maintenance, growth and protection. Vitamins are the organic substances that act as coenzyme and or regulator of metabolic processes. There are 17 known vitamins, most of which are present in foods, while some are produced within the body. Many of them cannot be synthesized, at least in adequate amounts, by the body and must be obtained from the diet. Now let us study the classification of these vitamins. Vitamins are grouped according to their solubility in either fat or water and are classified as fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. Now let us study what are these fat soluble vitamins. The fat soluble vitamins are vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E and K. They require fat for their absorption and can be stored in the body. If their intake is poor but body stores are ample, deficiency symptoms will not be seen immediately. Now, water soluble vitamins. The water soluble vitamins are vitamin B complex and vitamin C. Being water soluble, they are easily absorbed and the excess consumed is excreted in the urine. They are not stored in the body. Now let us study the classification of vitamins. At a glance we will see how are they classified. Vitamins are classified as fat soluble vitamins and water soluble vitamins. Now fat soluble vitamins are vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin E. Vitamin E is also known as tocopherol and vitamin K. Now water soluble vitamins are vitamin B complex and vitamin C. Vitamin C is also known as ascorbic acid. Now vitamin B complex is a group of several vitamins. Now we'll see what are these. They are vitamin B1 also known as thiamine, vitamin B2 riboflavin, niacin, vitamin B6 also known as pyridoxine, folic acid or folacin or also known as vitamin B9, pantothenic acid, biotin, vitamin B12 or cyanocobalamin. Now we shall study fat soluble vitamins. Fat soluble vitamins, that is vitamin A, D, E and K, are termed so because they are found in nature in close association with fatty foods such as butter, cream, vegetable oils, meat, poultry, and fish and their products. The presence of fat is required for the assimilation of these vitamins in the body. All of these, though quite different from each other in their structures, sources, and physiological roles, are significant to us during different life stages. Now, vitamin A. Vitamin A is the generic name given to a group of compounds having vitamin A activity. These compounds are retinol, retinal, and retinoic acid. They are found only in foods of animal origin. Plant foods contain yellow, orange, and or red colored pigments called carotene, which gives color to vegetables and fruits. Carotene is synthesized by plants and is the ultimate source of all vitamin A. Carotene pigments are converted to vitamin A in the body. Hence, they are known as provitamin or precursor of vitamin A. The primary and the most efficient provitamin A or carotenoid is the beta carotene. Most carotenoids act as antioxidants because of their long chain of conjugated double bonds. Upon hydrolysis, each molecule of beta carotene yields 2 molecules of vitamin A. Pure vitamin A is soluble in fat, insoluble in water, and relatively stable to heat, acids, and alkalis. It is easily oxidized and rapidly destroyed by ultraviolet rays. Now let us study the functions of vitamin A. Vitamin A performs the following functions. First function is vitamin A maintains normal vision in dim light. Rhodopsin or visual purple is present in the retina of the eye. Rhodopsin is formed when vitamin A combines with protein opsin. In bright light, rhodopsin absorbs light and breaks down into protein opsin and retinal. In dim light or darkness, retinal and opsin recombine rapidly to form rhodopsin, provided there is an adequate supply of vitamin A and the person is able to see in dim light or in dark, that is known as dark adaptation. But if there is a deficiency of vitamin A, the regeneration is slow and the person's eyes fail to adopt the changes in light. Now the second function is it helps in synthesis and maintenance of healthy epithelium, that is the outermost lining of skin and innermost lining of mucous membranes of respiratory, gastrointestinal and genitourinary tract. Third function is it helps the body to fight against infections by keeping mucous membranes in a healthy condition, which act as a barrier to infection. Now the fourth function is vitamin A is required for normal bone and tooth development and proper growth. Now let us study the deficiency diseases of vitamin A. If the body has sufficient vitamin A stores, deficiency does not develop at once. Now the deficiency diseases of vitamin A are night blindness, xerophthalmia, which includes xerosis conjunctiva and xerosis cornea, then Bitort's spot, keratomalacia, follicular hyperkeratosis or phrenoderma, and stunted bone development. Now first is night blindness or also known as nyctalopia. It is one of the earliest signs of vitamin A deficiency. In early stages of vitamin A deficiency, the individual cannot see well in dim light. Difficulty in reading or driving the car in dim light is experienced. In advanced deficiency, the subject cannot see objects in dim light. This happens because there is insufficient vitamin A to bring about quick formation of rhodopsin, which we have seen as the first function of vitamin A. Now, xerophthalmia. This condition refers to xerosis of the conjunctiva and cornea. Xerosis conjunctiva. Conjunctiva is dry, thickened, wrinkled and pigmented. This is due to the keratinization of the epithelial cells. The pigmentation gives the conjunctiva a smoky appearance. Now second is xerosis cornea. Now in xerosis cornea, when dryness spreads to cornea, it takes a dull, hazy, lusterless appearance. This is due to the keratinization of the epithelial tissues over the cornea. Now Bitot spot. Bitot described this condition in 1863. These spots are raised, muddy and dry triangular patches firmly adhering to the conjunctiva. They are frequently found in children having other signs of vitamin A deficiency. Now keratomalacia. When xerosis of the conjunctiva and cornea is not treated, it may develop into the condition known as keratomalacia, leading to irreversible blindness, represents rapidly progressive necrosis and death of tissue affecting the full of cornea. Blindness often results from corneal scarring or perforation. Now follicular hyperkeratosis, or also known as phrenoderma. There is hyperkeratinization of epithelium lining the follicle. The sebaceous glands are absent or present only in remnants. The skin becomes rough and dry and papules of varying sizes arise at the site of sebaceous follicles. Now bone development. Growth failure and stunted bones are seen in children. Now let us study the sources of vitamin A. Animal foods such as whole milk and milk products, egg yolk, oily fish, fish liver oils, organ meats, butter, cream and clarified butter or pure ghee are rich sources of vitamin A. Now sources of carotene. We have seen that vitamin A is present only in animal foods, but in plant foods it is present in the form of carotene. Now the sources of carotene are all yellow, orange and red fruits and vegetables such as carrots, pumpkin, mango, papaya, peaches and apricots, and all green leafy vegetables such as fenugreek, spinach, colocasia, amaranth, curry leaves and turnip greens are rich sources of provitamin A. Now let us study the recommended dietary allowances of vitamin A. An adult man requires 1000 microgram and women requires 840 microgram of retinol per day. A general conversion factor of 6:1 is recommended for all carotenoids except beta cryptoxanthin and alpha carotene, where a conversion factor of 12:1 is recommended. Now vitamin D. Now it is a fat soluble vitamin. Vitamin D, also called as the sunshine vitamin, is easily manufactured in the skin by the reaction of 7-dehydrocholesterol on exposure to sunlight. The two important forms are vitamin D2 and D3. D2 is activated ergosterol or calciferol and D3 is activated 7-dehydrocholesterol or cholecalciferol. Vitamin D3 is produced when 7-dehydrocholesterol in the skin is exposed to the ultraviolet rays in the sun. Vitamin D differs from other fat soluble vitamins because it is synthesized in the body and we do not depend on our diet for it. Being fat soluble, it requires fat for its absorption. Now let us study the functions of vitamin D. First is absorption of calcium and phosphorus from the small intestine requires the presence of vitamin D and the hormones of the parathyroid and thyroid gland. Second is mineralization of bones and teeth. After calcium and phosphorus is absorbed, vitamin D is required to ensure that these minerals are deposited in bones and teeth to strengthen them. Third is regulation of calcium and phosphorus levels in blood. Now sources of vitamin D. Sunlight is the main source of vitamin D. The precursor in skin is converted to active vitamin D3. Barriers such as clothing, soot, fog, window glass and melanin, that is the pigment which is present in skin, interferes with synthesis of vitamin D. Sunscreen lotions with high SPF also prevents vitamin D formation. Now it is also found in fish liver oils, fortified milk, vanaspati and margarine. Natural foods such as butter, milk and fish have it in small amounts. Now let us study hypervitaminosis D. Large doses of vitamin D can be toxic. Excessive use of fortified foods leads to loss of appetite, vomiting, diarrhea, growth failure and calcification of soft tissues and kidney stones. Now deficiency diseases of vitamin D. Vitamin D deficiency leads to lowered absorption of calcium, low serum levels of calcium and reduced bone mineralization. This results in the disease rickets in infants and children and osteomalacia in adults. In both the conditions, the bones are soft, bend easily and are prone to deformities. Now we shall study these diseases in detail. Now first is rickets. Now vitamin D deficiency occurs in infants who are solely breastfed without exposure to sunlight. The bones cannot withstand the normal mechanical stress and undergo ricketic deformities such as bow legs or knock knees. Now symptoms of rickets. They include enlarged skull, then pigeon chest, then ricket rosary, that is beaded junctures of ribs and costal cartilage, then poor muscle development, pot belly, then bowed legs or knocked knees. Osteomalacia, it is also known as adult rickets. In its fully developed form, as it occurs in women in Parda in India and Middle East countries, it causes great deformities and suffering. Such women are of childbearing age and consume poor cereal diets deficient in vitamin D and calcium. They stay indoors all day and seldom go out in the sun. The softening of bones leads to a deformed spine, rheumatic pain in the legs and lower back, limping and spontaneous fractures. Now let us study the recommended dietary allowances of vitamin D. A recommended dietary allowance of 600 international unit is recommended for adult males and females per day. The importance of outdoor physical activity as a means of achieving adequate vitamin D status in a tropical country like India has been emphasized in Recommended Dietary Allowances 2020. The increased requirement is attributed to progressive decrease in sunlight exposure, necessitating dietary sources to meet the requirement. Now we will come down to vitamin E. Now vitamin E or tocopherol is a fat soluble vitamin. In Greek, tokos means childbirth. Phero means to bear or bring forth, and ol indicates its alcoholic nature. So vitamin E is essential for normal reproduction in several species of animals and also in man. It is stable to heat and acids. It is rapidly oxidized in rancid fats. Now let us study functions of vitamin E. Vitamin E is the most potent natural antioxidant found in food. Vitamin E itself gets oxidized and protects cell membranes from oxidative damage. Vitamin E acts synergistically with selenium and reduce the body's requirement for each other. It prevents oxidation of vitamin A in the intestine, protects normal cell membranes by preventing their breakdown. It prevents hemolysis of red blood cells and prevents oxidation of polyunsaturated fatty acids. Now let us come down to the sources of vitamin E. Vitamin E is widely distributed in foods, particularly vegetable oils, that is corn, soya, sunflower, safflower, then wheat germ, whole grains, legumes, nuts, and dark green leafy vegetables. Now, what are the deficiency diseases of vitamin E? Vitamin E deficiency is accompanied almost always by the deficiency of other fat soluble vitamins. In newborn infants, especially those born premature or with lower birth weight, irritability, edema, and hemolytic anemia are observed. Now the recommended dietary allowances of vitamin E. The requirement of alpha tocopherol suggested is 0.8 milligram per gram of dietary essential fatty acids, and this roughly works out to about 7.5 to 10 milligram tocopherol per day. Now vitamin K. It exists as K1, which is found in plants, K2, which is synthesized by bacteria in the intestinal tract, and K3, which is a synthetic form. Now, what are the functions of vitamin K? Vitamin K is essential in the diet because it is needed for synthesis of prothrombin and other blood clotting factors. The ability of blood to clot is dependent upon a high blood level of prothrombin. Now, deficiency of vitamin K. A deficiency of vitamin K is uncommon in adults. Newborn infants have a sterile intestinal tract, hence they are given a single dose of vitamin K to prevent hemorrhagic disease. A deficiency interferes with formation of prothrombin and thus reduces clotting of blood. It may occur during diseases of malabsorption, oral use of sulfa drugs and antibiotics, or certain drugs which are vitamin K antagonists and can cause hemorrhages. Now, sources of vitamin K. Bacterial synthesis in the intestinal tract supplies at least half of the daily needs. Green leafy vegetables, cabbage, cauliflower, and pork liver are excellent sources. Cheese, egg yolk, and tomato also supply vitamin K. Now, recommended dietary allowances of vitamin K. The recommendations for vitamin K is 55 microgram per day for adults. Now this table will give you the recommended dietary allowances and main sources of all fat soluble vitamins at a glance. Now vitamin A, or it is also known as retinol, and the requirements are 1000 microgram for males and 840 microgram for females. And the main sources are whole milk, butter, egg yolk. Then the sources of carotene are, beta carotene are yellow, orange and red fruits and vegetables, green leafy vegetables. Then vitamin D, the requirement is 600 international units, and the sources are sunlight, fish liver oils, fortified vanaspati. Then vitamin E, the requirements are 7.5 to 10 milligram, and the sources are vegetable oils, wheat germ and green leafy vegetables. And last is vitamin K. The recommended dietary allowances are 55 micrograms, and the sources are green leafy vegetables, liver, cheese, egg yolk and intestinal flora. Now let us summarize. Vitamins are vital organic compounds required by the body to perform specific functions such as release of energy from food and other growth related protective and regulatory functions. They are required in minute amounts and hence are categorized as micronutrients. They are broadly classified as fat soluble, that is vitamin A, D, E and K, and water soluble, that is vitamin B complex and C vitamins. Each vitamin has a specific role to perform and cannot be replaced by another vitamin. Fat soluble has vitamins require fat for their absorption and can be stored in the body. Water soluble vitamins are readily absorbed but are not stored in the body. Excessive intake of fat soluble vitamins leads to toxicity or hypervitaminosis. Vitamin A is present in animal foods only. Carotene, a precursor of vitamin A, is present in yellow, orange and red fruits and vegetables and in green leafy vegetables. We get our requirement of vitamin D from sunlight. The precursor in the skin 7-dehydrocholesterol is activated by ultraviolet rays from sunlight. A deficiency of vitamin E and K is rarely seen in adults as these vitamins are widespread in nature. These are references. With this, we have finished our module on vitamins, part 1 of fat soluble vitamins. In the next part, we shall study water soluble vitamins. Thank you.